that, I find that I just save so much time that otherwise is spent needlessly, like doing things over and over and over again. So again, I would encourage people to ask, how can I work smarter as opposed to harder? And ideally, I would like to work 4 or 5 hours a day, and within those 4 or 5 hours, get as much work done as I would if I put in 10 hours. And you have to think about, what am I doing over and over again that's repetitive? So in my tech company that I founded, since it's a behavioral data analytics company, we developed software that examines bot activity on social media, and we can detect fake likes, fake engagement, fake account activity. And in doing so, we had to really analyze behaviorally how human beings behave differently than bots. And in becoming experts in bot activity, you realize the incredible inefficiency that exists when human beings do the same thing over and over again. And that's what gets humans replaced by bots, because a computer can be incredibly efficient in executing a repetitive behavior or action more so than a human can. So I would look at your life and think, what am I doing that is just really eating up into my work time and into my fun time? Because we all need a lot of downtime. And I myself don't really feel that I'm particularly good at that, and strive to be better at it. And I'm sure I'll be a work in process until the day I die. But you never really know how much progress you've made, and you never really pat yourself on the back well enough if you don't really have benchmarks that you've set for yourself, because it's never, there's never an end to it. So I think that's really important. Another thing that I want to talk about is how important it is to build a team as a startup hack. There are a lot of people who probably care and are passionate about something that you're passionate about. If you're interested in starting a business around, let's say it's sustainability, and you don't want to do it alone, I would encourage you to start building a board of advisors early on during the development stage, so that you are not a solopreneur, so that it's not just you and your co-founder or you and your co-founding team. It's really important to populate your company with advisory board members or board of directors or simple advisors or even mentors who can advise you and give you advice during that stage. It also is a great way for you not to feel alone in your journey, and for you to get the emotional and psychological and intellectual support that is so needed, because oftentimes it's such a lonely journey to be an entrepreneur. And we all have our awful days, and they come and they go, but it's so much easier when you have a team around you, even if it's just advisors, to help you with tasks, with introductions, with suggestions. It's an incredibly important thing, and I would urge every entrepreneur out there to start building that now. It will make your product and your life so much better and so much richer, including joining professional organizations as well. And then lastly, on this topic of saving time and money, I would say that it's really critical that you delegate as much as you can. So you may say, okay, well, I'm a solopreneur. How do I delegate, right? Well, the key to delegation is to really look for either individuals who are willing to help you and do so potentially for equity in your company, or perhaps if the area that you're working in is of interest to a high school intern program or to a university intern program, reach out and see if you can provide an opportunity to a student who could gain valuable professional experience by working with you. And obviously it's important to provide rich experience that is enhancing to your intern, as opposed to just filing and doing administrative duties, because it does go both ways. I really believe it's important that you provide value for those that are working with you as well. And then lastly, I would say for your personal life, it's so important to have some sort of practice, whether it is going for a walk or going for a run or going for a swim or dancing, something that breaks up your day, that gives you a physical release so that you have a good mindset and that you kind of open your creativity channel to great ideas that are that may not come to you otherwise. And I would say I often ask people who I interview this question, which is, if there's an entrepreneur out there who's listening and in need of guidance, what is that one piece of advice that you would give him or her and that you wish someone had told you? And I think something that's really important and sadly sometimes difficult to really absorb is how important it is to really come from a positive mindset and from a positive mindset, but also from a prosperity mindset. We so easily adopt a fear mindset, a scarcity mindset. I mean, it's just second nature. It's really built into our DNA. But you have to think about, well, gee, what if you didn't have any fear at all? How would you approach your entrepreneurial activity? How would you approach your life? And if you didn't have a negative mindset, how would that change your decision making? And you find that some of the most successful entrepreneurs are truly fearless. Now, by that, I don't mean that they don't have fear. The difference is they have fear, but they do it anyway. And they have courage. And that, at the end of the day, is really what you need in order to get to the end of the road and to turn that corner and not quit. Because oftentimes you're so close when you start thinking about quitting. And if you can just power through, and that's where your team comes in, it will make all the difference in the world in terms of your success rate. So I wanted to close by saying that if you feel that you could use a network of women around you who are also building businesses and you could use resources, you should definitely reach out to us at womenentrepreneurs.global. We would love to share the resources that we have and tell you more about our offerings, which you can find on our website, which is womenentrepreneurs.global. And each week we interview a variety of different founders from different industries who are at different stages in the entrepreneurial journey. And we find it's really important to do that because every entrepreneur at different stages has different startup hacks that they use, different time and money saving strategies. And it's also really great to understand people's journeys, what triggered them to launch their business, how they kept going, and quite frankly, how they're doing in their journey, because this is really a sisterhood of founders, and together we will make a greater impact than if we work individually. And that's really the goal of We Global. So I want to thank you for being one of our listeners, and for any questions about our programs, of course, our podcasts, any guests, myself, and our female founder programs. Again, as I mentioned, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. I'm your host, Fernanda Carapinha, and I look forward to seeing you next week for another great episode of Startup Hacks. Thank you for joining Startup Hack. Tune in next week for more interviews. We have another great show you won't want to miss on the secret female founder strategies that can save you time and money when building your business. This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital do-it-yourself startup platform for women. For more information on our guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. I'm your host, Fernanda Carapinha. See you next week.